Welcome to Living Well with Beal. Our show is a health show, a lifestyle show, and an empowerment show rolled into one. Get ready to hear some stories of success, healthy living tips, and suggestions to get motivated and live your best life. Now, here is your host, Beal.
Hello, friends. Are you having a great day? Or are you just dragging or exhausted? Are you feeling down? Maybe angry? Or would you say you just don't feel good? Or maybe you just don't feel right? We hear people say this all the time. We are here today, and I say we because I'm joined by Dr. Jim Slaughter, to share with you the 4 simple things that you can do daily to ensure that you always have a great day. And we want you to always have a great day. So welcome to the show, Jim.
I am so glad to be here with you today, Miss Ann. This is such a fun show. Thank you for having me today.
Well, people are always asking us how it is that we are always in a good mood and we're always energized and we're always, they say, happy. I see it as though I'm very joyful. Sometimes I'm not happy, right? But I feel joy. And so other days I'm just smiling as big as I can. And you have this great smile. And so people are asking us that a lot. And we started realizing that we do have these 4 things that we do pretty much every day. Or if we forget about them, the minute we don't feel good, we know to do them. And you can do it. Sometimes you only need to do 1. Sometimes you need to do 2. Sometimes you need to do all 4. Mm-hmm. And so we want to share those with you today so that you can employ these tools each day, each time that you're down. Because one thing in the middle of the day doesn't have to ruin your day. And you hear people say that, don't you, Jim?
Yeah, you sure do. And, I get the impression that sometimes people just feel like they've been hit with a boulder or something, or run over by a truck, and or maybe it's not that bad. But someone told me a long time ago about this. Why do you let the day happen to you? Why don't you make the day happen?
Yeah, that sounds good, but I don't think people always know how to do that.
Well, we're going to tell them today how to do that, though, right?
Right. And it is amazing how you do that, and we have people come in and we'll ask them, especially if we're coaching them, to tell us the good in the day, and or how was their day, or how are they doing? And we find before coaching, they usually say, I'm not doing well, or I'm tired, or something negative, or they'll say, I've just had a horrible day. It's been a horrible day. When they tell us what happened, it's usually one thing that happened in the day, not the whole day. And that one thing, like they got a flat tire, or it's really cold outside. So if they were, like yesterday morning, we were leaving for work, and I spilled my coffee all over the console in the car. It just fell right over, and the coffee top, because I had a top on it, didn't hold, and the coffee went everywhere. So because of that, our Mercedes windows later in the day were going down when they weren't supposed to as we're driving. And there was a time, Mr. Jim, that would have really, 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 really made you mad, right? And that's because the car was doing crazy things. You don't like when your technology goes wacko.
That's true. That's been a thing for me in the past, yeah.
Yeah. And so part of it, though, was we got through it, got it all cleaned up, and then took off to work. We were only 2 minutes late, but also in the past, and I mean long past, 'cause of course he's incredibly healthy now, those 2 minutes late would have what to you?
It would have got me off to a bad start.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been in a bad mood.
Because you really need to be early. And so, our clients were great. And so for us, we still, at the end of the day, had a great day. But if you look at what happened in the day, we had some pretty kind of screwy things happen, right? And so that is what we want to help you do. That one bad thing doesn't totally ruin your day. That you see it as it is in reality, that there's all day long that was good and only one thing that was bad. Or only in our case, 2 things yesterday. Well, 3, because that made us late. And yet we still were joyful and good for our clients. Because if we go in and we are not in a good mood, or we are not 100% as best as we can be, and be able to be patient and calm and listen and have joy and all those things, we won't be able to help our clients. And if we're in a bad mood, we're trying to help them, then that doesn't go very well. So.
Yeah, and bad moods are infectious too. It's like a disease. If you have it, you can pass it on, and vice versa.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do that.
That negative energy. Okay. So the number one first thing that we would suggest, what is it that you do?
Well, the thing that we recommend first that we think is probably the most powerful thing is journaling. This is something that we began doing and adding to our mornings and adding to our lives some years back, and it really it serves numerous purposes. But it is the way to get your head, your emotions, your mind, everything kind of going in the right direction. And it serves different purposes, which we can talk about if you want to. But it is really, really a powerful tool to get you going in a positive direction for the day.
And I had a lady on, the 89-year-old professor at, where was she? A professor at New York City. Anyway, Edith Ham, and she was telling us about handwriting and how handwriting affects the brain neurologically.
Right.
And just the writing, even if you're just writing smiley faces or doodling, that there is a stress reliever, relaxing thing about that. And so we believe the best way to feel good is journaling by writing, pen and paper, pencil and paper, anything like that. You can also type it. I've had clients, I have a young person right now who came and said she woke up in the middle of the night and started journaling in her phone. She started actually, putting it in as a memo and in her phone. And it really helped. So instead of being stressed out or anything like that, somebody is texting me and I don't know where it is, that she was able to calm down immediately and go right back to sleep. So journaling, whether you're writing, typing it in the computer or into your device, or your phone, helps tremendously. Now, one of the things that we've learned is we journaled most of our life, I think. When you're a teenager, like when I was a teenager, I wrote a diary, right, with my friends. And then we burned it. Like, I remember burning it because we were afraid somebody was going to find it. Now, even just that, if you do that, and we're talking about daily, and we're talking about the beginning of the day. Now, you don't have to do it at the beginning of the day. But what is the great thing about doing it at the beginning of the day?
Well, because it gets you, there are a couple of things, actually. One is that all night long, your brain is processing. Your brain never goes to sleep. And you are constantly processing, even though most of that is subconscious. And so you wake up with a lot of subconscious input already. And so journaling helps you process that and to make sense out of all that and to get it out and do something with it. So part of it has to do with processing that subconscious stuff that happens in our dreams, in our sleep, and get that taken care of. But the other side of that is, Sue, that you just it's a great way to start the day off on a positive note, because journaling tends to allow you to get dark emotion out of your head, out of your heart. And it's like it just flows down through your arm and your fingers from the pen onto the page, and you get it out. And so you're able to start in a fresh way, in a positive direction. And journaling, in the right way at least, does that.
I just got a text from a listener saying that right now they are journaling to me to say thank you for this topic.
Really?
Yes.
Wow.
And I usually turn my phone down because people do contact me during the show. And so if you'd like to text me about the show, and I don't say that too much on the air, but people that have been listening to me and they Facebook me or email me or whatever, they have learned this. And so if you'd like to text me, 817-501-1638. So people do that during the show. So this was 3 texts. She journaled. So that was kind of funny. Okay. So for me, definitely, first thing in the morning ensures I don't get in a bad mood. When I journal first, yes, it journals out all the stuff that's been stuck inside that needs to get out. Mm-hmm. And your body's trying to process it, but your brain just loops. It holds on to it until you get it out. Sure does, yeah. And so for me, my brain, I'll kind of obsess if I don't get it out. So by journaling first thing in the morning, I get it out. And also because when I journal, the way I journal, I always end with basically the truth, the realistic truth, not my fears, not my anger, any of that, but just realistically, this is the truth. I can do this. I'm going to be good today. My client's this or that, or I'm going to be able to do what that God will lead me and it'll be a great day.
Yeah, it turns into that because, once you get the dark stuff out, it's done with, it's over, it's behind because it's out on the page now, it's not inside you. Then your mind immediately goes to the more positive things that you're thinking, that your mind wants to tell you and wants to be on the table in front of you during the day. And so journaling done well almost always ends up in a positive direction.
And it does. And so once you get on that, you get the good mood established. And sometimes you feel fine when you wake up, sometimes you don't know you're not fine until you start journaling and stuff starts coming out. And it isn't long. I mean, how long would you say you journal?
I was just going to ask you that question, but I would say 30 minutes or so. Sometimes it's a little bit less if I'm rushed for time. But when I'm working with a client, I really have them shoot for 30 minutes a day in the journaling process. If they just can't do that, then it needs to be sometime between 15 minutes and 30 minutes. Yes,
because sometimes mine may only be 15. And it's just that for me, there's nothing more there. What was left, what I needed to say, what I need to process through. Now, I do move on to wins after that, which is you're including wins in your journaling, right?
I do that, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So 30 minutes. So let's talk a little bit about how they journal.
Yeah.
Right.
I
mean, just writing, because we have people start off in coaching and they just write. We have them just for the first week, just write. Write whatever comes in your mind.
Or some people have tended to think journaling is keeping a logbook where
like a diary.
This day I'm going to the store and I'm going to get this because I'm out of it and I'm going to meet with so-and-so later. That is not journaling. That's keeping a logbook or making a diary or something like that. Journaling is totally different from that, and I know that you wanted to address that.
Well, I just can feel it's expressing what you're feeling.
Okay.
If you're afraid or if you're mad or if you are overwhelmed, because I would say most of the time, if I'm overwhelmed, that might be what it is at times. I get overwhelmed and I can't quite figure out what to do. But when I'm journaling, or it'll just obsess,
Right.
And so once I journal it, I get it on paper and it helps me think it all the way through so that and there's always a resolution when I journal. Like it takes me all the way through it and I have a resolution and then I'm good.
Right. So, and your entry that morning might start something like, I feel so overwhelmed, I don't know what to do.
Right.
And then you go on from there and keep writing. But being honest about what you're just identifying what's really going on with you is the way you start.
Well, we have a big decision to make coming up. And so I've just had God leading me. And I truly didn't know which way to go.
Right.
And I had, you got the goods and you got the negatives and you have that you want to do ministry and you have this with your time and all that and your dreams. And so for me, it was every day this last 2 weeks, just truly journaling, Lord, lead me. I'm still like blank on what to do. And so it helps when you have a decision to make, but it also helps if you wake up and you're not feeling good. So if you wake up and you're feeling just bad, and you start journaling it out while you're feeling bad. Now, we don't want you to just only write the bad, right? Because then you have this negative feeling. We want you to end with, after you write the bad or get all that, Dr. Slaughter, as Jim says, get all the junk out. Then you write, because that's out, then you can see things more clearly. And you can write the truth, which is you can do this, or you will be able to figure it out, or on a positive note.
Yeah, often you even find yourself in this positive phase of the journal. You're going to find yourself doing some decision making, even sometimes, and sometimes it just comes. All of a sudden, you know what to do. And it's because your mind has been clarified or cleared. Your thinking is clarified, your mind is clear, and you're thinking so much better after you go through the process.
Yes. And before we go to the first break, I want to make sure and thank one of our sponsors, Sunshine Herbs, which is a supplement health food grocery store in Saginaw, Texas on Business 287. And we just want to thank you and just encourage everyone to get out to that store. We love referring people to Dr. Tiller. He's a naturopathic doctor, and he owns that store, and he is actually located in that store. And they know, him and his staff know their supplements so well.
They really do. I'm impressed with that. Yeah.
And so we've even gone in. We ended up going in and getting some, a big, 5-gallon thing of water. Because they have this wonderful purified water, more than purified. It's everything, osmosis, ionized, anything you want in your water to make sure that you are drinking perfect water. And it is not very expensive. We got 5 gallons for what? $2.50, something like that.
Very inexpensive.
It was very expensive. And so anyway, it's wonderful water. So they have everything that meets your needs there for health. And so we just suggest, if you can, and you're in Saginaw or near Saginaw, the Fort Worth area, north of Fort Worth, go by there. So just wanted you guys to know that. Dr. Slaughter, would you say that journaling is your best way to feel better, or is it just one of the 4 for you?
Well, I think it's the best way to start the day. I wouldn't say that for me it's the best way to feel better or the best way to relieve stress, although it's huge. There's no doubt about that. There are other things that complement that in such a way that together they can really do a very helpful job for us to do that. But for me, I think there's something else that would probably be better.
Oh, there's something else better. See, and for me, the journaling is so powerful.
I know.
But I do throughout the day, because I can't journal once I'm out of the house hardly, unless if I do, it's only a 5-minute. And 5-minute does help me kind of decharge if someone has upset me, or I get this weird trigger sometimes from people, right? If I have a moment, I can write it down, I'll be fine.
Let me clarify and say that I think that the journaling plus the wins is the most powerful way to get myself off during the day to a good start, in a positive direction, and feeling good about my day. Now, as I go on during the day, if something happens, I can go ahead and journal some more, or I can use some of these other things that we're going to talk about to change my mind about how I'm doing and what's happening.
Yes, and so that's the journaling, and that one's really good. But win mentality that we're going to talk about right after the break is one of the best things. And the win mentality can change your view of life, to even change how you feel about the way you see things, so that you usually are in a good mood anyway.
Right.
So stay right here. We're going to break, and we'll be right back, and we're going to talk about the win mentality and 2 other simple things. So stay right here.
It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed. VoiceAmericaEmpowerment.com.
Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling in Fort Worth, Texas is a full-service wellness clinic providing individual, group, and family counseling, one-on-one coaching for life and wellness, and naturopathic treatments of medical massage therapy combined with essential oils to ensure you reach your health and wellness goals. Sessions are available in person or by phone. Get started on your new life today. Just call 817-232-1363 or go to LifeSolutionsCoachingandCounseling.com or email them at lifesolutioncc@yahoo.com.
Are you ready for a health, life, and empowerment show in one? Then be sure to listen every week for Living Well with Ann Beal. Ann takes her long-running TV show to the Internet Talk Radio airwaves with guest experts and insight designed to help you live a healthy and successful life. By hearing from the experts and those who have found success, our goal is that you too will be motivated to do the same. Living Well with Ann Beal can be heard every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, 7 a.m. Pacific on the Voice America Empowerment Channel.
Build your better business. Achieve that goal. Make good on that resolution. The Voice America Empowerment Channel. It's your world. Motivate, change, succeed.
You are listening to Living Well with Ann Beal. We'd love to hear from you with comments and questions about the show. Please send us an email to ablivingwell@gmail.com. That's ablivingwell@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back. We are teaching you how to always have a great day. So if you want to have a great day, we talked in segment 1 about the importance of journaling. And journaling in a way that gets your emotions out. Now, journaling, we suggest writing with a pen and paper, but I've also had many coaching clients use paper. Others use computer. Some use devices like iPads or Kindles, and some use their phone and just put it in a memo journal. You don't have to keep it. It's not about keeping it. It's about getting it out.
Yeah, that's an important point to make, I think. Some people think you journal so you can look back through it as time goes by and see how far you've come or something like that, That's not what it's for. It's the process is what it's for. It's the writing itself that's what it's for. It's not particularly helpful to go back years later and look at it or even months.
What's funny about that is you have kept yours. You have yours. I mean, you have yours back. You had notebooks in your office with journals all the way back when you were in the Air Force. I mean, I don't know if it was that far back. I'm trying to remember. But you would journal, and and I would journal, right? And I'd have my little journal book. But you had notebooks full, lined up of all your journals for a long time, Dr. Slaughter.
I did. I did that. But you know what? I never once went back and read that stuff. And I'm not sure if I just didn't have a way of disposing of it discreetly or what.
But there is something about when it's helped you and you've written and you write it out, it is hard to get rid of. So I've kept mine.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about that. I don't go back and read them. Mm-hmm. I think in the beginning I did when I started really learning the win mentality that we're going to talk about now. Mm-hmm. And I started realizing that so much of my journaling was negative.
Yeah.
And so though it felt good to write it, it didn't necessarily change the mood of my day. And so it changed the day and it made it better. Mm-hmm. But it didn't necessarily change me from being, down or sad or whatever you call that feeling, that melancholy feeling or whatever. And so for me, learning more about the win mentality and how you incorporate that into your journaling just doubles that effect, triples that effect. I don't even know how much you can say percentage-wise that it would change it, but it ups the ante so much. So we want to tell you about the win mentality. And Dr. Jim Slaughter that's here today, he is so good at this. Now, I think that for you, when you coach, this part you do so well. I mean, I'm not saying you don't do the rest well, but you pick up on that mentality when it's not a positive, it's a negative. You're always there to point that out.
Well, thanks for that. To me, if there's any bottom line to my coaching, as I'm working with guys, I am making every effort to help them build into their lives every day what we call a win mentality. In other words, I'm going into this day realizing that I'm going to win. I'm not going to lose. I'm going to win. And the way we do that is by developing it in the way we're going to talk about right now. And it's been extremely helpful to me.
Yes.
I used to be a glass half empty guy. I'm not that anymore. I'm a glass nearly full. And I like that. I really like that. And part of the turnaround was developing a win mentality. And that's why it's important to me.
Well, and I would say that's an exaggeration from when I met you. But yes, definitely you had a lot of that melancholy time, where you were just so serious and not really happy, right? Mm-hmm. And I think that people that are like that, they say they're realists. They always say, I'm not a pessimist, I'm a realist. And they all say that. And I go, pessimists always say that. They say that to justify that they don't feel real good, and we want you to feel good. So the win mentality, we actually learned from Dr. Jane Gardner at the Gardner Institute, which used to be in Southlake. And I think they've moved to Allen now. And she taught us the win mentality. And really improved our journaling. I mean, she helped us immensely. And so I just want to do a shout out to her to thank you for that. So the win mentality is when you think of a win, some people call it gratefulness. Some people call it counting your blessings. Have you heard any other names for it?
No, but blessings often come as the other word, the synonym that comes across.
Yes.
It's that idea.
Mm-hmm. But it's different from that.
It is different. Yeah, it is.
And that for us, the wins are good things that happen in your day. Now, the reason it's a little different than blessings is that it's also the good things that you do. So when you are able to get up on time, look the way you want for the day. Like if you get up on time and you can shower and, especially I'm a woman, so if your hair looks perfect, it's like, whoa, it worked, or a perfect haircut when you have a hairstylist cut your hair and it works, right? Yeah. That's a blessing. But that's what I call a win. But also if I call wins being able to get up and make coffee for myself or setting the coffee the night before so I can get it like that. Because I've had times when I was, after what I call the great sadness in my life, that tragic family time in my life, I had trouble getting out of bed and getting coffee and just wishing somebody would bring me coffee. And I remember being at, a football player's house, a professional football player's house, and he had this really beautiful silver espresso machine right by his bed in the bedroom. And it was connected. I mean, it was like part of his house. It was the coolest thing. And this was before they had Keurigs. And I came in, and you were there, I think. Did you see it? Troy's?
At Troy's, yeah.
Yeah. And it was like, whoa, that is like the coolest thing right there. And I was like, I want one of those. And so for me, the fact that I have coffee, and I remember you told me when you saw my wins list that I cheated, like, of what, you make coffee? I'm like, that's awesome. Yes. Getting laundry done, whatever it is that you feel is important to you, that makes you feel good or that makes you feel accomplished, reaching goals. What else?
Well, I was gonna say, that the reason making coffee can be a win for you is because it is in some degree an objective gained from a time when you said I wasn't able to do that.
An objective.
I came out of that. I came out of that part of myself where I was in those days to a place where I could actually make coffee for myself, or I could actually do the laundry, or I could actually make dinner on time, or whatever.
Oh,
There's a time when we weren't able to do that because things were happening that got us down. We've come through that. And so there are two different kinds of wins, and I don't know when and if you want to deal with that, but...
Okay, the inside wins and the outside wins.
Yeah.
I must say, your PhD, I love the way you word things when you meet objectives. When you see, he puts it in such a good way.
Thank you.
Inside wins are things that I do, things that I actually am able to accomplish, things that come out of you, things that you actually do. And how would you describe it?
Well, and sometimes, and that's true, that they are that. There are things that you are doing and you're accomplishing something.
Yes.
Okay, but it can also be self-awareness. If I have a new awareness of myself, I learned something about myself I didn't know before. That's an inside win. If I am able to meet an objective for the day, that's an inside win. If I reach a goal, that's an inside win. It's those things that come out of myself where I'm growing, I'm stronger. And when I recognize that and when I do it, then that's an inside win.
I just got a text saying, is listening to your show an inside win? and I would personally say yes. Okay, that you turned my show on and you listened to it. And then if I give you a good show or I actually say things that help you, that change the way you feel today, that you feel has been a new insight that you gained from me, or Dr. Slaughter, what am I saying? Just me, because you're on the show too. Jim is so insightful. So if you gain things from him, that is an outside win. Now explain an outside win.
Yeah, an outside win is when something good comes to us or happens to us. Inside win is generated from within in me. Outside win comes to me from the outside.
And there are reasons, I mean, to me, right now, for your day, it doesn't matter to me what you call them, right? Because, but understanding that things come to you throughout the day that you aren't in control of. Like, I love a beautiful day. Mm-hmm. And so that would, to me, that's God doing that. And so whatever you call a beautiful day, because what I call a beautiful day, what Jim calls a beautiful day.
A beautiful day to you is 85 degrees or 90 degrees. To me, it's 65 degrees or 70.
Let me correct. First of all, 95. Well, I don't know. I love sun. So, but I would say yours even 40. You're like, oh, it's such a brisk, beautiful day. And I'll know,
it's invigorating.
Oh, I need my winter coat. Yes. And so whatever you call beautiful, that's an outside win. But for today, I just want you to see wins, and they come throughout the whole day. And so when we say journaling, you don't have to do it necessarily in the morning, but keeping check or just an awareness that these wins come to you throughout the day and being able to see them and recognize them. And so for me, I constantly am saying, that's a win, that's a win, that's a win. When I spilled the coffee in the car and Jim jumps out, runs in and grabs towels, I'm looking for napkins or tissues in the car. I'm just looking, and I realize he's gone, and he jumps back in with towels, right? Cleaning it up. That is definitely a win. And so I was thinking in my head, that's a win. Having him on the show today, because he had a conference call today, having him get off in time for the show, that's a win. Having this wonderful coffee with cinnamon and vanilla that I put in it this morning. I just, all morning long, I thought, this tastes so good. You loved the espresso the other day that we made, and you're like, wow, this is so good. That's a win.
That's a win.
And so being aware, that things that come throughout the day. Most of the day is filled with wins.
Actually, it is. And most people don't see that because they haven't been used to looking for it. But the day is filled with wins. And so part of our job is to help people recognize those wins and have a better outlook.
When they start coaching, they don't see wins. In fact, they have a very hard time. And definitely they either have a hard time, depending if they're more of a person that has trouble getting anger out, so they more turn it inward. They're more pleaser kind of people. They have trouble seeing the good things that they do. Perfectionists have trouble seeing the good things that they do.
Yeah, they do.
So they really have a hard time. Other people have a hard time seeing what other people do, but they always do have a hard time with the wins. By the time they're done coaching, they've changed everything. I mean, they can see. I mean, they have like 450 points. So it's just like win. And so nothing affects them throughout the day. They're able to not let it change their mood. It's just something that happened because things are going to happen. And it's just, oh yeah, that happened. And then they go on. It's just one event and it doesn't shake the world. It doesn't change their emotions. It just takes effort. And then they're, you get this. And then it doesn't have to affect my day. Right. And some people say, you hear all things about, I'm not going to let Satan get the best of me or whatever they're doing. They know that this is just an event and it does not have to control them and it doesn't have to change their day. It's a mentality to say it's ruined my day because you keep thinking about it all day long and you don't know that in a second like that, you can change it.
Yeah, you really can, especially if you've developed a win mentality, which is, again, that's what we're about, is helping people do that. So you go into your day expecting and looking for really good things to happen to you. Yeah. And that's kind of how you go through your day. And when you do that, you're able to see the negative things that happen or the hard things in a totally different light.
Yeah, they're really not that important. They're really not that important.
They really aren't. And you can get through those. And the win mentality helps that so much. When do you list your wins? When do you do that?
I do it in the morning, but I also sometimes will, if I'm in a weird mood later on in the day, I'll grab, and I don't have a lot of free time, but I'll just grab a sheet of paper and just start listing them.
You just start writing them down, right?
For the day.
Yeah, for the day. And so, that's what we would recommend to people as you begin to become aware of the things like the ones we've mentioned here, whether they're outside or inside, write them down, make a list. Or the next morning when you journal, think about the day before and the wins that you experienced, write them down, list them, identify them, and it'll change your mentality.
It does. It changes the mood quickly. But I can also, I think because we've been doing it so long, do it in my head. I'll just start thinking of some good things that have happened and it makes me smile.
Right.
And so one of the things that I do though is, so that's the wins. So that's the second thing. But immediately when I said it makes me smile, I thought of those alpacas, those llamas. Okay, we kind of we're only like a few minutes from Fort Worth, honestly, 20 minutes from Fort Worth. And we see animals quite a bit, but the alpacas, they're smaller llamas. They always make me smile. And so I think of them as a healthy pleasure. And so healthy pleasures is one of the things that we want to talk to you about. And you can change your mood by just thinking about those. And so when I was thinking wins, all of a sudden I thought of the alpacas, which cried me up.
Yeah,
and it made me feel good. And so that's definitely being able to, positive anchors, healthy pleasures. So we're going to share those. And the alpacas are just so cute. And they had the mom had the baby. I didn't even know it was a female until she had a baby. And seeing this little bitty alpaca. Mom was white. He's chocolate colored. And so that is definitely a win. First time I saw it, now that's a win. And every morning driving into work, it was right by the office. I'd go, that's a win. That's a win.
We're fortunate in that we live in a kind of an area where there are wild animals here. And when I say wild, I'm talking about herds of deer in our yard and owls flying by and hawks and all that kind of thing.
We had a white snowy owl in our mailbox.
Yeah.
Of course, it went after a possum. So then my kids started worrying about their cats. But just
but those
beautiful.
things are, and when you see a wild animal like that, it to me, that's a win for me too. I love that.
And that's why outside, when you're going to change your mood, some of the things that you can do are to go outside. If you like things that are in nature is made to make you feel better. And so for me, animals outside, walking around flowers, walking in the vineyard, anything like that helps you feel better. Coffee makes me feel better. Friends make me feel better. Calling friends makes me feel better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so having a list of the things that make you feel really good, which you call healthy pleasures, I think Jane Gardner calls it snow time, doing things that make you feel good.
Yes.
Having some time. I use that to change my mood. And so I know that if I've journaled and done my wins and I've had coffee and I still don't feel it's still that kind of a severe charge, whatever the feeling is, I can walk outside. I can journal outside. So I use outside, walk around the animals. Your animals help you feel better. Some people will go hiking at lunch break. They'll go walking, and that helps them feel better. So exercise will help you feel better. That's a healthy pleasure. You have any other ideas for healthy pleasures?
Well, many actually. I mean, I get the term healthy pleasures from a guy that I studied under, Walt Schaefer, who's the best on stress relief and stress management I've ever seen. And that's his term, healthy pleasures. What it means is just enjoying a time doing something you love. And so it's different for different people. I'm a book guy. I love going through bookshops. Half price books is a healthy pleasure for me, walking in there and just looking at the stuff. Some people really like exercise. They for them, that's something they love. Maybe it's yoga. Maybe it has to do with a great cup of coffee. Maybe it's a book that you like that you're reading, or maybe it's a devotional that you have. It's so many things like that are the healthy pleasures. But remember, a healthy pleasure is enjoying something you love. And so it's very important to decide what those things are for you. And it is one of the 4 major stress reliever type things that we're mentioning today to get your day off to a good start.
Yes, that's wonderful. And to keep you there throughout the whole day.
Yeah.
Healthy pleasures are so wonderful. And healthy pleasures are wins because you've done something like that.
Yeah, sure.
And so having that list, I even give it to kids who throw tantrums when their technology is taken away, whether it be a phone or video game or whatever. And it's because they don't know what else to do to make themselves feel good. They don't even know to go hang out with friends to feel better. So many kids now just stay on this technology all the time, watch YouTube, whatever. And the minute it's gone, they just feel immediately like bored or there's nothing else to do. But there's wonderful things to do because they haven't been introduced to climbing trees and going and playing ball with their friends or just hanging out with their friends and things like that. And so those are all healthy pleasures. But they're also, when you do that, that's a win.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so it makes you feel better. And that's one of the things that you can incorporate throughout the day. And people do talk about music, listen to music on the way to work.
Yeah, music's a great one.
Okay, because you can use music to make you feel great, or you can use music. You listen to a sad song, you can get sad, right?
Yeah.
And so we're saying do it the other way around.
See, if you know you're sad, though, then that's a win.
Because you need to do something, right? That's so funny. That's an insight. I need to turn on the radio to good music, right? Whatever makes you feel good. And some people say it's children's voices, some like soft men's voices or soft women's voices or whatever, or choir and so whatever kind of music it is. Some people just like, we have this wonderful music playing in the office and I never paid attention to it. And so somehow the CD got in the car. And I went all the way to work. And I got to work and I'm like, oh, man, Ashley, you should play this CD here at work. And she just looked at me like I was totally crazy. And she's like, Mom, I'm so sick of that music. That's why I put it in the car. I'm like, oh, I love it. I love it. So I still listen to it on the way to work. And so that is what we call healthy pleasures.
Yeah. Can I clarify one more thing here real quick? And that is that a healthy pleasure, or as Dr. Gardner would say, a snow time or snow day, it's not something you think you should do. It's something that you want to do, that you enjoy. And so it's like giving yourself a gift during the day. And so I just wanted to clarify that. Sometimes people will take some time to spend by themselves, but instead of doing something fun or that they want to do, they go do a chore. It's not like that. That's not what that's about.
I got a text from somebody saying, oh, you're not just a win, you're a healthy pleasure. Is that awesome?
That is awesome.
I know.
Yes,
I love you guys.
is.
You're so sweet.
That's fantastic.
So yes, you're learning. That's good. And I'm glad we're those. Okay. I'm glad we make you feel better, which is why we're here and on the Empowerment Channel.
Yep.
When we get back from break, we are going to explain one more thing, which is positive anchors. And positive anchors are when you feel bad. You can do all these other things, but it's a visualization kind of thing where you can think of things that make you feel good. And so we're going to take you there, have you do that, do movie time with you, and have you come up with your positive anchors, too, that make you feel wonderful, so immediately change your mood. So stay right here, and we'll be right back.
Follow us on Twitter for more great ideas at Voice America Empowerment.
Life Solutions Coaching and Counseling in Fort Worth, Texas is a full-service wellness clinic providing individual, group, and family counseling, one-on-one coaching for life and wellness, and naturopathic treatments of medical massage therapy combined with essential oils to ensure you reach your health and wellness goals. Sessions are available in person or by phone. Get started on your new life today. Just call 817-232-1363 or go to lifesolutionscoachingandcounseling.com or email them at lifesolutions cc@yahoo.com.
Sunshine Herbs in Saginaw, Texas, on Main Street, Business 287, has all of your supplement needs and healthy food products. So, my suggestion for you, visit Sunshine Herbs today and let their knowledgeable staff who know all their products and their naturopathic doctor lead you to a life of health and wellness so that you too can live well.
We're all living in the moment, but you never know when life is going to take a unique turn. It doesn't have to be a challenge, but perhaps more of a detour to get where we need to be. On The Sky's the Limit, host Karen Levitt knows that experience, having faced it herself. Learn about her journey from a life-changing event to where she is now. Her guests are amazing people who are living these experiences and overcoming obstacles. Learn from their stories every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time on Voice America Empowerment.
We're on Facebook along with some of the greatest minds of the world, and that includes you. Visit us on Facebook at Voice America Empowerment.
You are listening to Living Well with Ann Beal. We'd love to hear from you with comments and questions about the show. Please send us an email to ablivingwell@gmail.com. That's ablivingwell@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's show.
Welcome back. I'm Ann Beal, and I have Dr. Jim Slaughter here to help you continue having a great day today. And if you're not having a great day, to make sure we change it to a great day, right? So that you have the skills to, from this moment forward, keep your day wonderful, keep your mood good, so that you can be filled with joy. So
absolutely.
We've already gone through, if you didn't hear the first two segments, journaling and how to journal your emotions out, just to journal them out. And then end well in your journaling. End on a positive note. What you believe is going to happen is going to be good, that you know you can handle it, that you believe in yourself, anything like that. Then the number 2 is the win mentality, which we talked about in the second segment. How to count your wins, some people call count your blessings. Basically an awareness of all the good things that come to you in the day.
Right.
Examples. Money in the mail. I want one of those.
That would be a really good win.
It just shows up. Okay, somebody giving you a compliment. Being able to get up on time and have wonderful coffee that makes you feel good if you love coffee. So I do see people with other things. Having friends around. Being able to get to work with no traffic. That's awesome win. Or to get there on time.
And you're number one, finding a great parking place, right?
I know, I love that. Now, I have this weird thing. I just know I'm going to find a great parking place. So I always do. And it's usually the same one. Kind of weird, but it always happens. And so part of it is to help you know how to change your mood. And so journaling does that if you do it first thing in the morning or little bits throughout the day, just whatever you need to do to get in a good mood. You can add wins where you can write the good things that happen to you.
Yep.
Or just acknowledge them if you don't have time to write them. And, most things in the day are good. And so we talked about that. So if you want to go back and listen to that segment, if you missed it. And then we ended last segment with healthy pleasures, the things you can do to make you feel good. Taking a walk, being around animals, going outside, hanging with friends, talking to friends, listening to music that makes you feel good. And it depends on the person. I mean, I have had people who love Linkin Park, right? And it's like, whoa.
Right.
And I found, you can run to that stuff, and it helps you like not hear your breathing. And for me, it's like I like soft men's voices, soft women's voices, like children's voices. I find, or even that music, that Eagle music, whatever that is, that I listen to on the way to work to just make me feel wonderful. And there's some contemporary Christian music I love. And so, for you like classical.
I do like classical, and I like lighter kind of. I like heavy classical, lighter classical, but I also like contemporary music. I love certain kinds of Christian music too. So, kind of a broad spectrum. It depends on what mood I'm in, I guess. I love golden oldies. I like the '60s stuff. You do, and stuff like that. So it just kind of depends.
Well, I like those.
Yeah, you like those too.
I like the fun ones.
We don't have time to talk about something. We like sitting up late at night and sharing old songs, through on our phones with each other and stuff like that. That's a lot of fun.
Those are the childhood songs that we loved, right? And I actually played Kid Power for him. I loved Kid Power. It was this album I had when I was a kid, and with the book that you turn the pages and so I played. They actually had it. I found it and played it for you.
Yeah,
from the
it was
internet.
great.
It was so
great to hear that.
And so things like that. I mean, anything. Those are definitely healthy pleasures. Going for hikes. We love hikes. We live by the lake, so going kayaking, anything like that, healthy pleasures. So of course those change your mood. I mean, how could going kayaking? Well, if the wind's blowing really badly, okay. But I mean, biking, anything, whatever it is you enjoy doing, and it can be gardening. We have clients that love to garden.
Right.
Anything like that. But if it's quick to change your mood, a healthy pleasure might be a piece of chocolate.
Absolutely. We know about that, don't we?
Yes.
Yeah. It's what takes your mind away from whatever's troubling it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it helps. So definitely healthy pleasures. But now we're going to talk about positive anchors. Everyone needs one or two. I say two because you can have two different kinds. Positive anchors that immediately, by thinking about them, that it changes your mood, especially if you're afraid or anxious or angry, anything like that. And I work with kids on this a lot, especially teenagers at school. Well, kids at school too. If they're terrified about a test and it's causing them great anxiety. And then so to have them have those positive anchors. So immediately, because they can't do a lot of other things right there at school. So immediately in their seat, they can think about their positive anchor and immediately they're okay. It changes the brain chemical. So you have, lots of brain chemicals. You have 9, women have 10, men have 9, and it's a mood. So you can just change it. So if you're feeling one of those, so immediately by changing what you think about, immediately shifts, stops the other one, and begins a new chemical. So you can change it to adrenaline, you can change it to endorphins, you can change it to dopamine, you can change it to GABA. So you just want to feel good, any of those things, and away from the darker emotions. Those are chemicals that are flowing. And so change circuits, change chemicals. And we found, it's amazing what they've learned about the brain. You can immediately change it by what you think about.
You sure can.
And one of the best examples is, you walk into a room and you're in a great mood, and the minute you see like a thread on the floor, but you think it's a spider, your adrenaline goes up and you start feeling afraid, like, And so, but once you realize, and this is only thinking, that if the thread is a piece of thread, it hadn't changed at all. So the circumstances haven't actually changed at all. But immediately you realize it's a piece of thread and not a spider. So you're thinking immediately, the adrenaline goes away and you start laughing because it's funny, right? And everybody's laughing at you because you thought it was a spider. And so that laughter is a chemical. So you shifted only in your thinking and it changed your mood.
Yeah, that's a good example. A positive anchor. The reason we call it that, if that's where you want to go right now,
Yes.
to call it that is because it anchors us into more of our true self. Okay, we haven't dealt with true self, false self particularly, but it's who we really are, and it anchors us into the reality of empowerment and the reality of calmness and that kind of thing. And so we call it a positive anchor. It anchors us into the positive part of ourselves. And there's a specific way to accomplish that. And you mentioned 2 different kinds of anchors, and I have an anchor. Normally what I teach an anchor that is an empowerment anchor and an anchor that is a calming anchor.
Right, me too. Okay, I do those 2. So we probably learned from the same person.
I bet we did.
Well, and I think that what you find really is feeling successful and empowered is very important and so that one you can use a lot. And then there's sometimes you're just stressed out and you need to calm down. And so those would be the logical two. So I don't know that we were taught necessarily those two. We were just taught to close our eyes. So what I want to encourage you to do right now, if you're listening and you're not driving, do not do this if you're driving, okay, is to close your eyes.
Yeah, but people who are thinking, I don't really want to close my eyes.
Okay.
We want everybody to close their eyes if you're not driving. And if you possibly can, or go through the exercise with us.
It's much easier to visualize it and imagine it if your eyes are closed.
Yeah.
It also has the power so much more to de-stress you or change to a good chemical, multiply times 10 if your eyes are closed.
Yeah.
And so, if you have authority issues, you don't like being told what to do, like I used to. Okay, I don't anymore. I think that's gone, right? Totally.
Pretty much.
If you don't close your eyes, just understand it doesn't work as well. But so right now, if you'll close your eyes and think back to a time in your past, even maybe when you were a child, when you felt really wonderful, just truly joyful. Some people will think back to a time when they felt sun on their face as they were skateboarding or riding a horse or in the woods, by the ocean, on the beach, anything like that. So just think back when it felt really, really good. Really, and if you can't think of anything, think of maybe when you felt really successful or really happy. Some people have said walking in a garden with their grandpa. Anything like that. So think back. When you find that memory, I want you to open your eyes. Okay. So for you, Jim, when you did that we call it movie time because you close your eyes and you let your imagination go.
Yeah, it's like there's a screen coming down and you're seeing this thing that you're thinking about.
Yes. Yeah. What was the first thought you went to when you did that the first time? Do you remember?
Well, the first thought I had was something we actually talked about a few days ago that when we didn't have to do the show, but we were talking about it. And it was my, positive anchor that I use for calming, for just de-stressing. And it is a redwood forest in California near where I used to live. It's in Santa Cruz, California on the coast. And walking beneath these redwoods on a path that's covered with pine needles so you can't even hear yourself walk. It's almost total silence. Once in a while a bird, once in a while a stick falling to the ground or something like that. I envision myself actually being back there and walking on that path and seeing what I would see, hearing what I would hear, smelling the smells of redwood forest, that kind of thing. And immediately I know my heart rate goes down, my breathing rate goes down, my metabolism slows down, and I am much calmer.
And I know that you use that quite a bit. Mm-hmm. And for me, I thought back, I'm from Arkansas, so we don't have redwoods. I just immediately thought of me and my brothers and some of my friends jumping in this huge pile of leaves. It's just jumping in these leaves, right?
Yeah.
And that pile of leaves was near where we had a rope swing where Suzette and I, one of my friends growing up, we'd swing on this. It wasn't really a rope swing. What was it? It was like a vine, because eventually it broke. And so we would swing into these leaves or jump into these leaves. And so it was really fun. And when I went back and I just did that movie time and thought about that, I remembered, I could see, which is something I hadn't remembered until I did that, was all this honeysuckle on these bushes right by there. And so it always smelled this wonderful smell.
Oh,
and so when you close your eyes and you imagine and go back, it's amazing what you can remember. Mm-hmm. And so for me, it was that whole feeling of being with my friends. And I had fun with my brothers, and we were jumping into the leaves, which is, I don't think I've done it since then. And it was just a carefree.
We're going to have to do that.
Oh, God, no. We won't fit. It'd have to be an awful big leaf pile. But, just carefree and just having fun. I talk about healthy pleasure or snow time,
right.
And we call it, snow time in that when when you had snow days and you didn't have to go to school. You didn't run errands.
It was a free day.
It was just free. You just did stuff, right? And so, so the movie time was thinking back to that. And so for me, it was just a joyful time. Mm-hmm. And I didn't come up with like an empowerment thing. For me, it was when I felt really, really good. Mm-hmm. So it was that one. And then working with Dr. Meredith, doing TV and radio, just the joy of working with all these incredible people and them treat me like equals and being able to do something I never even imagined. Right.
Yeah.
And so those would be two of mine. So anything that you can come up with that are times that you felt really, really good.
Sometimes I'll just have people, like we've done with the audience today, just close their eyes and think of their favorite place in the whole world. And we may talk about that, but if you can bring your senses into it, this should be a sensual exercise where you're envisioning what you would see and smelling the smells and hearing the sounds and all of that. The empowerment thing would be a time when you met a challenge and you succeeded.
And I think that for you guys today, we wanted you to hear these 4 simple things that you can do so that you can have a great day every day. So I just want to review them. Journaling, doing your wins, healthy pleasures, and positive anchors.
Yep. Okay.
And so use those today so you can have a wonderful day. And if you can, get by Sunshine Herbs in Saginaw, Texas on Main Street. The naturopathic doctor there, Dr. Tiller, is awesome. When we walk into that store, everybody just smiles. Hi, guys. They love us. And so we just encourage. They have even wonderful health products. And you got powdered peanut butter.
I did. I'd never used that before.
It was so
today.
awesome.
It was great.
I was like, what is this? Right. So they have all this cool stuff. So I just want to suggest if you're there, get by there and see them. And in the meantime, use these tools to have a great day.
And live well.
Live well.
Thank you again for joining us. Living Well with Ann Beal airs live every Wednesday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time on the Voice America Empowerment Channel. We can't wait to see you again next week.